Have you ever wondered if the secrets you keep could be the key to a quieter, more peaceful life? Picture this: a cozy evening with your family, laughter echoing through the room, and yet, beneath the warmth, a subtle tension lingers, born from words you wish you'd never said. As we age, the urge to lay bare our souls to those we love grows stronger, driven by a belief that honesty is the ultimate gift. But what if that gift sometimes carries a hidden cost? The truth is, not every thought, every choice, or every burden needs to be shared. In fact, holding some things close to your chest might just be the wisest act of love for yourself and for those around you. In this journey we're about to take together, we'll explore 5 things you might want to keep private after 65. Not out of deceit, but out of a deep, hard-earned understanding of life. These aren't about building walls. They're about safeguarding your independence, shielding your heart from unnecessary strain, and ensuring your relationships bloom rather than buckle. Stay with me until the end, because what you discover could transform the way you connect with your family, granting you a freedom you didn't know you'd been missing. Let's dive in. Number 1. Financial decisions and assets. Imagine sitting at your kitchen table, sunlight streaming through the window as you sip your morning coffee and review your bank statements. The numbers tell a story of a life well lived. Savings tucked away from decades of careful planning, a small investment you made years ago that's finally bearing fruit, maybe even a little nest egg for a dream trip you've always wanted to take. Now imagine your adult children or a curious sibling asking, "So, how much do you have saved up?" It's a simple question, one you might feel tempted to answer with full transparency, thinking it'll ease their minds or prevent future confusion. But here's where the story shifts. The moment those details spill out, the air changes. Suddenly, your peaceful morning is interrupted by a flood of opinions, well-meaning or not, that you never asked for. Money, that delicate thread woven through every family, has a way of tangling even the strongest bonds. You might think sharing every detail, your savings, your stocks, the value of that old cabin by the lake, will foster trust. But too often, it opens a door to complications you didn't see coming. Your daughter might suggest you sell the house and downsize, her voice laced with concern that feels more like control. Your son might hint at a loan for his latest business venture, his eyes gleaming with an expectation you never intended to invite. Or worse, a distant cousin, once a stranger at family gatherings, starts showing up with a newfound interest in your well-being. Their questions circling back to your assets, like vultures over a prize. Consider Margaret, a sprightly 68-year-old I heard about from a friend's story. She'd worked hard her whole life, retiring with a modest but comfortable fortune. One Thanksgiving, warmed by wine and nostalgia, she let slip the details of her savings to her children. What began as a moment of openness spiraled into months of unsolicited advice. "Mom, you should invest in crypto," or "Why are you still driving that old car? You can afford better." Her eldest even suggested she rewrite her will to include the grandkids' college funds, something she'd already planned but now felt pressured to justify. Margaret's peace evaporated, replaced by a nagging sense that her choices were no longer her own. She couldn't unsay what she'd shared, and the knowledge hung over every family gathering like a storm cloud. It's not that you should hide everything. There's wisdom in having a clear estate plan, a trusted executor who knows the essentials when the time comes. But the day-to-day details, the exact amount in your checking account, the splurge you made on a new set of golf clubs, the stocks you're eyeing. Those are yours to savor. Keeping them private isn't about mistrust. It's about preserving your autonomy. When you shield these matters, you protect yourself from the weight of others' expectations, the subtle shift in how they see you, the quiet erosion of your control. If Margaret had held back, she might still be enjoying her coffee in peace, her decisions unquestioned, her independence intact. Your financial world is your canvas. Paint it as you see fit, and let the brushstrokes remain yours alone. Number 2. Health concerns that are not urgent. Picture yourself on a crisp autumn afternoon, raking leaves in the yard you've tended for decades. The air smells of earth and nostalgia, and though your knees creak a little more than they used to, you feel alive, capable, strong. Later, over dinner, your family gathers. Grandkids tumbling over each other, your spouse passing the mashed potatoes, and you mention, almost offhand, that your joints have been stiff lately. It's a small thing, a passing ache, but the room shifts. Your daughter's brow furrows. Your son leans in with a concerned, "Have you seen a doctor?" Before you know it, the conversation pivots from holiday plans to a debate about arthritis remedies, supplements, and whether you should cut back on yard work. What was a fleeting comment now feels like a spotlight on your frailty. As we age, our bodies tell stories of resilience, of wear, of time's gentle march. It's natural to want to share these chapters with those who love us, to let them in on the little battles we face. After all, they care. But there's a fine line between keeping them informed and unloading every minor ache, every fleeting worry. When you overshare, you risk painting a picture you didn't intend, one where your family starts to see you as fragile, diminished, a shadow of the person who once hoisted them onto your shoulders or danced late into the night. That shift isn't just in their minds, it seeps into how they treat you, how they talk to you, how they limit you without even realizing it. Take Jim, a 70-year-old retiree with a passion for hiking. One day, he casually told his kids about a nagging soreness in his hip after a long trail. He'd already adjusted his routine, shorter walks, more stretching, and felt fine. But his children latched onto it. Within weeks, they were texting him articles about hip replacements, suggesting he skip his annual camping trip, even hinting he might need a cane. Jim felt the sting of their worry. But more than that, he felt the loss of something deeper, their belief in his strength. He hadn't meant to sound weak, but once the words were out, he couldn't reel them back. His family's love turned into a cage, their concern a weight he hadn't asked to carry. Of course, serious health issues, those that alter your life or require support, deserve to be shared. But the small stuff, the twinge in your back after gardening, the fatigue after a restless night, those are yours to manage. Keeping them private isn't denial, it's dignity. It's the choice to define yourself by your vitality, not your vulnerabilities. When you hold back, you maintain the reins on your own narrative, ensuring your family sees the you who still rakes leaves, who still laughs at old jokes, who still has miles left to walk. If you're nodding along, feeling the truth of this, drop a number 2 in the comments. I'd love to know you're with me. Number 3. Your true thoughts on family conflicts. Imagine a family reunion, the kind where the air hums with chatter and the clink of glasses. But beneath it all, a current of unease runs deep. Your brother and sister are bickering again, over their late mother's jewelry this time, and your niece is still simmering over a years-old slight from her cousin. You've seen it all before. The same arguments circling like vultures, the same grudges flaring up like embers that refuse to die. You've lived long enough to spot the patterns, to know who's stubborn, who's hurt, who's just looking for a fight. And in a moment of clarity, you feel the urge to speak up, to call out the pettiness, to side with the one you think is right, to finally say what's been brewing in your mind for decades. But pause, take a breath, because once those words escape, they're a wildfire you can't contain. Family conflicts are a tapestry of old wounds and tangled loyalties, and at 65, you've likely become the elder, the observer, the one they look to for wisdom or blame. It's tempting to wade in, to offer your unfiltered take on who's wrong or how they should fix it. Maybe you've tried it before, stepping into a sibling spat with a firm, "You're both being ridiculous," only to find their anger turning on you like a sudden storm. Or perhaps you've critiqued a son-in-law's temper, thinking your daughter needed to hear it, only to see her pull away, wounded by your judgment. The truth is, your voice carries weight, more than you might realize, and when you share your raw thoughts, you risk becoming the lightning rod in a storm that was never yours to weather. Consider Evelyn, a warm-hearted 67-year-old who prided herself on her honesty. When her adult daughters clashed over holiday plans, she didn't hold back. "Your sister's right," she told one. "You've always been too selfish about these things." She thought she was helping, cutting through the noise with truth. But instead of resolution, she got silence. Weeks of it. The daughter she'd criticized stopped calling, and the other felt guilty for winning her mother's favor. Evelyn's words, meant to heal, had sliced deeper than the original fight. Years later, she told me she wished she'd stayed quiet, letting them sort it out. "They would have moved on," she said, "but they didn't forget what I said." Silence isn't surrender. It's strategy. When you keep your true thoughts on family dramas to yourself, you sidestep the fallout, the resentment that festers, the alliances that fracture. You don't have to lie or pretend all's well. A gentle, "I'm sure you'll figure it out," can be your shield. It keeps you connected without chaining you to the chaos. At this stage of life, your peace is a treasure. Don't trade it for a battle that time will either mend or bury. Let your family wrestle their demons. Your role is to love them through it, not to referee. Number 4, your regrets about the past. Close your eyes for a moment and picture a quiet evening, the kind where the world slows down and memories creep in uninvited. You're sitting by the fireplace, flames casting shadows on the walls, and your mind drifts to the past, to the job you didn't take, the city you never moved to, the words you left unsaid to someone who's no longer here. Regret is a companion we all carry, a soft ache that grows louder with age. It's tempting to share these reflections with your family, to unburden your heart to your children or spouse, to let them see the roads you wish you'd traveled. But what if those words, meant as a window into your soul, become a mirror reflecting pain you never intended? As we cross into our later years, reflection becomes a ritual, sifting through decades of choices, weighing what was against what might have been. You might feel a pull to confess these regrets, to tell your son you wish you'd been home more when he was young, or to admit to your partner that you sometimes wonder about a life left unexplored. It feels honest, raw, a way to connect. But here's the catch. What you see as a moment of vulnerability, they might hear as a judgment on the life you built together. Your daughter might internalize your wish for more family time as "I wasn't enough," her childhood suddenly cast in the shadow of your guilt. Your spouse might catch a whiff of discontent in your musings about a lost dream, wondering if they were the consolation prize. Think of Harold, a 66-year-old widower who loved his family fiercely. One rainy afternoon, over tea with his grown daughters, he let slip a regret that had haunted him for years. "I wish I'd taken that job in Seattle when you girls were little. We could have had a different life." He meant it as a wistful what if, a peek into his inner world. But his daughters didn't hear it that way. The eldest, who'd always idolized their small-town upbringing, felt a pang of rejection. Did he think their life wasn't good enough? The younger, more sensitive, quietly wondered if he blamed her mother for holding him back. Harold's casual confession rippled outward, stirring doubts that lingered long after the teacups were cleared. He told me later, "I didn't mean to hurt them. I just wanted them to know me." But some pieces of us, he learned, are better kept inward. Regrets are yours to wrestle, to cradle, to learn from, not to unload. Sharing them doesn't rewrite the past. It risks rewriting how your family sees their place in your story. When you keep these thoughts private, you shield them from misinterpretation, preserving the love they've always known. Process them in solitude, through a journal, a walk, a prayer, if that's your way. But let your family hold on to the you they cherish, the one who built their world, not the one who mourns its cracks. If this resonates, drop a number 4 in the comments. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Number 5, the full extent of your financial situation. Now imagine this. You're at a family barbecue, the scent of grilled burgers wafting through the air, kids darting between picnic tables, and your brother-in-law sidles up with a beer in hand. "So," he says, voice casual but eyes sharp, "how are you set for retirement? Got a nice cushion, I bet." You laugh it off, but the question lingers, tugging at a decision you've been mulling. How much should your family know about your money? Not just the big picture plans, but the nitty-gritty, the savings account balance, the rental property income, the unexpected medical bill that dipped into your reserves. It feels right to be open, to prepare them for what's ahead. But money, that slippery beast, has a way of twisting even the purest intentions. You've spent a lifetime building your financial world. Maybe it's a sturdy fortress of investments and frugality, or maybe it's a patchwork quilt, threadbare in spots but holding together. Either way, it's yours, a testament to your choices and grit. Yet the moment you reveal its full scope, something shifts. If you've got plenty, you might notice a change in the wind. Your nephew suddenly pitching a surefire business idea, your sister asking about loans with a smile that doesn't reach her eyes. If you're scraping by, the shift is different, but just as heavy. Your kids hovering, worried, questioning every dime you spend on yourself, as if you're a child again. Either way, the knowledge seeps into your relationships like ink into water, clouding what was once clear. Take Clara, a 69-year-old who'd always been the rock of her family. After her husband passed, she decided to share her financial reality with her 3 sons, partly to reassure them, partly to feel less alone. She laid it all out: the inheritance, the savings, the monthly budget she'd stretched thin. At first, they were grateful, supportive, but soon the questions started. "Mum, why are you still paying for cable? You don't need that," one said. Another pushed her to sell the house she loved, insisting it was too much for her now. The third, struggling himself, began dropping hints about borrowing a few thousand. Clara's openness, meant to unite, became a tether. She felt watched, judged, her independence slipping through her fingers like sand. I should have kept it vague, she admitted later, her voice heavy with regret. There's a balance here, of course. Your family deserves to know the essentials, your will, your wishes, who to call when the time comes. But the full ledger? That's yours to guard. Share only what's necessary and let the rest rest. When you keep the details close, you hold on to your power, your freedom, your right to live as you choose, without the chorus of voices telling you how. Money can bind a family, but it can also unravel it. Protect yours, and you protect the love that matters most. Final thoughts. As we draw this journey to a close, step back and breathe in the quiet wisdom we've uncovered together. Picture yourself standing at the edge of a serene lake, the water reflecting a life rich with lessons. These 5 things: your finances, your minor health woes, your unfiltered takes on family feuds, your regrets, your money's full story, aren't about secrecy or distance. They're about stewardship of your peace, your dignity, your bonds with those you hold dear. Not every truth needs a voice, and sometimes the greatest strength lies in what you choose to cradle in silence. Reflect on your own life. Have you ever shared too much, only to feel the ground shift beneath you? Maybe it was a casual remark about your savings that sparked a lecture, or a regret that left your child questioning their worth. Or perhaps you've held back, felt the relief of it, and realized later it was the right call. Aging brings clarity, a sharpening of what truly counts. Your calm, your control, the love that thrives not on every detail, but on trust. Being selective isn't shutting people out. It's carving space for what makes your relationships sing. I'd love to hear from you. Drop a comment below with one thing you've learned today, one way you'll carry this forward. Your voice fuels this space, inspiring me as much as I hope to inspire you. If this resonated, hit that like button, subscribe, and share. It's your support that keeps these stories flowing. Thank you for being here, for walking this path with me. The rewrite is complete. See you in the next one.